really make sense to talk about a youth market? Are we generalising too much when we say that? No. Do you have any thoughts? Can we really say the youth market isn't that just too broad brush?
I think in some respects it's broad in terms of what it wants. But again, in MENA region, we have some markets that act like most advanced market, like in Western Europe. There are some who are like very in the early stages of this technology revolution. So you have a wide spectrum of operators. But within that, you have different demographics and psychographics, which each operator needs to take into consideration before they launch into it. At a broader level, what we have discussed now is for the youth market, where the kids individual operators need to go and drill down and see how exactly the social changes, the political change, and in what ways they need to, the youth want to develop. One example, Doctor mentioned that learning platform. In some cases, maybe it's more finding the right job type of application. So it slightly differs when it comes to nuts and bolts of it, but overall, there's a theme. But beneath the theme, we need to focus and deliver to the target.
Okay, so there is value to the category, but you have to go beyond that and apply it to particular circumstances.
Yes.
Okay. So a related point, really, Dr. Tarik, I just wondered, can we talk about the Middle East youth market? Is there something distinctive about that as compared to other youth markets elsewhere?
Well, there's certainly a few things that are quite distinctive about the market. One of them is the sheer magnitude of the segment relative to the rest of the demographic structure of the region. So this is the most youthful region in the world. One. Two, youth in this region have very specific needs. Well, there are gaps that are easily identifiable vis-a-vis their own revealed priorities in life. We talked about jobs, we talked about education, and we could add to them a number of other very critical areas of concern, whether it's housing, marriage, socializing, and access to finance. On most of these benchmarks relative to their counterparts elsewhere in the world, youth in this region tend to underperform by a significant margin. That strikes me as both a CSR proposition, a business proposition, a policy proposition. Somebody has to step in and fill that gap. Fill it with the right services, the right design, the right ideas. I think that's what we want to see more of. It's going to require multiple players collaborating in this field. But there is something distinct, yes. While our youth will benefit from everything else that's happening in the world, there are specific needs that speak to their own socioeconomic status, their own aspirations vis-a-vis others.
Okay, lots of really interesting things there. So, to what extent should it be responsibility of mobile operators, do you think, to step in and do some of those things? I mean, you're talking about, I guess it goes back to sort of the topics we were discussing in our earlier panel, but we're talking about sort of social programs to some extent, employment, finance for housing and so on. What's the role for operators, do you think, in that? What should they do?
I think mobile operators offer the infrastructure that everybody else is looking for to precisely respond to these needs. A few years ago, that infrastructure wasn't available. Now, you can actually, in the design of interventions, whether you happen to be a government department, or a private sector corporation, or an NGO, you can actually take into account the presence of that infrastructure. That's a very important ingredient into answering these questions that was not present before. Two, the infrastructure need not necessarily imply that it's available. And I think this is where the relationship we've had with Ooredoo Group has been incredibly critical for this to happen. Without the Ooredoo Group, we would not have imagined these ideas, we would not have designed them, we would not have piloted them. And so, if you can get these sorts of partnerships replicated, I think that the teleoperators, the mobile operators in this region, should see the immense opportunity they have at the moment to bring about socially desirable impact, to actually also address bottom line questions. After all, many of these are markets that are unaddressed, unfulfilled. Somebody has to step in and hopefully provide them with a product. So I do see immense potential. I see the partnerships we have with Ooredoo as being the exception as opposed to the rule. Let's hope the next time around this conference takes place here, there'll be more of these partnerships that take place, but I think that is the direction in which we want to go.
Okay, well let's turn to a couple of the operators we have here. Zaid, I'll turn to you first. So Zain, clearly you had quite a comprehensive strategy there for addressing the youth market. Do you have any programs that are designed in cooperation with government or with NGOs that have social benefits? Are those the kinds of things you are looking at as well?
Yes.
For youth?
Of course. Part of the Fun Club initiative on Vocational University Network, as I've mentioned, was volunteering. And there are lots of occasions where you would see Zain Fun Club volunteers participate in NGO, let's say, initiated activities. This includes basic things such as giving to the poor or providing free iftar in Ramadan. And then it goes to different kinds of problems, like the lack of, let's say, knowledge required to get a job in the current job market, for example. So assistance with different kinds of socioeconomic problems is taking place. And through our fund club and through our main company activities, we try and strive to actually fulfill some of the needs of the youth in our economy.
Okay, great, thanks. No, at STC, can you tell us about any activities in that area?
I think, let me take where we are now and where we need to go. Now, as an operator, we generally tend to see two different markets. One is the consumer market, one is the business market. As things are evolving, what happens is there are a lot of opportunities to meet the consumer market through the variety of vertical markets that we have. And one of the markets could be the NGOs, where they are reaching out to our consumer market. So therefore, we need to work through it. So the traditional product and service kind of an approach limits us very well. That's what I want to make it sure here, my point gets across, is that we cannot look at what technology, what services we can offer. We need to look at how we can work with a variety of partners in order to deliver what the end user wants. And that is the best way of gathering their needs so that we can develop, adapt technology to meet their needs. Not only we are meeting consumer needs, but also we are meeting the business side needs, enabling them to offer their services, expertise to others. I think this is how it will emerge in the future. The sooner we do, the better it is. And the more behind we are, I think that those markets will be lost and cannot be recovered in the way we would actually realize that we could take this.
And do you see any signs of progress in that, in terms of, so you talk about it depends on the reorganization within telcos themselves?
Yes.
Are there any signs of that happening?
I would wish that more has happened. But again, like many things in this region, things take time because of historical reasons. But if we, now that the way we approach to customers is different, the way we need to organize ourselves is different, and I would expect a coherent culture is the answer for us to effectively reach out to these youth markets. Without that, I think we'll be still stuck in the product and services paradigm and without able to make any impact whatsoever. So the organizational challenge here in MENA really is so great. We need to come out of that and have an organization that understands and realizes what are the different routes to market and quickly adapt to that. I think if that doesn't happen, probably we will